Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Laura Murillo, President and CEO of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We are happy to recognize one of our Houston legends, a longtime friend of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. You know him as Adrian Garcia. He has served as Mayor Pro Tem, served on City Council, came from the beginnings of a Houston police officer, and sits here before us today, heading up Precinct 2 as a commissioner. Welcome and congratulations for all that you've done. We really appreciate your engagement with the Chamber of Commerce, your life as a public servant, and also a family man with a daughter and a great wife, Monica. So congratulations. Thank you for being with us.
Glad to be here, Doctor, and thank you for allowing me to share a few minutes with you.
Well, absolutely. And so first of all, for folks that may not know, you were born and raised in
Houston,
North Side.
That's
been your hometown for over 35 plus years.
That's correct.
And you truly have been a public servant in a variety of capacities. And you know, looking at that long history, what continues to motivate you to stay engaged? Because it is a big sacrifice.
Well, what motivates me is that, one, this town's been great to me, great to my family, allowed my parents to come here and just jump in with both feet and then have an incredible life. So I want to give back fundamentally. Secondly, there's a lot of families like mine that are still trying to work through their respective challenges, and it shouldn't be as hard today as it was in 1959. And so I want to make sure that I'm part of the process to facilitate success, facilitate a better quality of life, facilitate success for our children, and to ensure that government works well for all people.
So growing up, was it your intention to be a public servant? Did you want to be a police officer? I mean, how did this all get started?
No, I mean, look, I was just being a good son and helping in the family business. My father was a auto mechanic, and he had his own business, and so he was a craftsman. He cared about his craft, and he wanted to do a job well done. So he really made sure that we did our jobs and did them well. He would always say, if you're not going to do it right the first time, then don't do it. Let someone else do it. And so, I was just focused on doing the family business, but it was my mother that one day brought over our taquitos for lunch and said, I don't think you're happy. And I said, what do you mean I'm not happy? I'm happy. I'm making money. I'm working. You know, all is good. And she says, no, I don't think you're happy. I think you need to look at what your brother's doing. And I had an older brother, Ignacio, who regretfully we lost a few years ago, who was already a Houston policeman. Okay. And so I followed in his footsteps and his example, joined the Houston Police Department in 1980, and it's been a whirlwind ever since.
Well, we know that you served as the lead of the anti-gang task force, which again, such incredible work that has been done and continues to be done there. Certainly that opened your eyes to just all of the many needs that we have here in Houston. Tell us a little bit about those early beginnings and City Council work.
Well, you know, I tell you that as a young policeman, I just cared about, look, you had to protect the community. You had to handle the people who were out there trying to cause harm. But I also knew, growing up where I grew up, that not every kid who is growing up in a tough neighborhood is a bad kid. And so I wanted to make sure that our anti-gang efforts were well balanced with a focus on safety as well as a focus on prevention and intervention. And so that work gave me a little bit of notoriety. I was in almost every community across the city. I was traveling across the state. I was working across the country. And so one day people started telling me, you ought to run for office. And I'm like, nah, I'm a cop. I'm not a politician. And I resisted it. There was a lot of calls for about 2 years. And I was just convinced that that's not what I was going to do. Until I made the fatal mistake of saying, look, if my city council seat were to be open, I'd consider it then. But right now it's not. At that time, Councilmember Vasquez was my council member. And I said, if it happened to be an open seat, I might think about it. But I had already told my wife that I wasn't going to do it. And we talked about it on a Sunday evening. Monday morning, or Monday, was the filing deadline. And I get a call at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm being told, he's vacated the seat. It's an open race. Now get your butt in it. Yeah. And I'm like, I already told my wife I wasn't going to do it. And she goes, go home and tell her you are. So that created a series of events.
Yeah. Well, and since then, it is true that there are so many needs, and you've served in different capacities, and what we'd like to talk about is what you're doing now and the role that you're playing and what we can expect in the upcoming years as you continue to serve as commissioner. So we'll get back on that.
Yeah, well, look, as you know well, there's several levels of government that we all find ourselves in. There's the local government, cities, if you happen to live inside a city. There's a state government. There's the federal government. But one that isn't talked about often enough is our county government.
Yeah.
And that's the role that I serve today as county commissioner.
Well, we'll get right back to that in just a moment.